What's up, everybody? My name's Matt, and I am so glad to be here to spend another week starting the party with you. So to kick us off, let's talk about one of my favorite YouTubers, a guy who is definitely a party starter, someone you know, Mr. Beast. Now, how many of you love this guy? See, Mr. Beast has become famous for his giveaways. For example, did you know that one time he opened up a free car dealership? One day he walked around and gave $20,000 each to different unhoused people. One time, this guy went into a restaurant, ordered water, and then tipped the waitress $30,000. He once gave away $1 million to people, but they only had 1 minute to spend it. And one time, he offered a McDonald's worker $100,000 to quit his job. See, the list goes on for days. He's got over 120 million subscribers, and it's growing every single day. And that's because we love seeing other people win unexpectedly. We love the idea of generosity. Now, when most of us hear the word generous, this is what we think about. Mr. Beast giving away a private island, which he actually did one time. But the truth is, most of us don't have the resources to demonstrate that type of generosity. I mean, for me, I don't have a private island to give away. That's not within my ability. But even if we don't have a bunch of extra money to be generous with, we do have things like time and encouragement and kind words, and even our talents that we can freely share with other people. But if you're anything like me, it's easy to let your thoughts on generosity be just that, thoughts. How often have you thought, I should help my friend with that, or I could probably encourage my siblings right now, or I have some time to help my teammates with this skill, but just when you could, you don't. For whatever reason, we just aren't motivated to act. So can we just be real for a few seconds? I think sometimes what keeps us from being generous is fear. We're afraid that if we help someone else win, we'll lose out on something. And we want to get ahead. We want to win, and we want to get the most out of life that we possibly can. But if we're not careful, our desire to be the main character can get in the way of something really important, being generous with other people. Sometimes we're worried that making someone else the main character in the room will get in the way of us getting ahead in life. We're afraid that if we give to someone else, that there won't be enough left for us. We're afraid that if we use our resources and our skills to help someone else succeed, there won't be enough space for us to succeed too. We're afraid that using what we have to help someone win in life means that we will have to lose. And I think that's because it's easy for us to see ourselves as the main character in the story. We want to be the hero, we want to be the winner, and we want to be the one that walks away with everything at the end of the movie. So when someone else gets the attention and someone else gets the win, it suddenly feels like our status is at risk because there can only be one hero in the story, right? And if it's someone else, well, then it can't be me, can it? And so we hold back. We don't always use what we have to give to others. We don't always make an effort to help others win. But can I just challenge us with this question? What if we're missing it? What if by choosing not to be generous with what we have, we're actually not winning? What if there's a better way to start the party for everyone, including ourselves? See, during his time on earth, Jesus spent a lot of time helping people learn more about what it meant to be a party starter. Sure, he didn't use those exact words, but so much of Jesus' teachings were about what it means to live the kind of full and awesome life that he promised us. And that's what being a party starter is all about. To help people understand what he was teaching, Jesus often used parables or stories to make his point. And today we're actually going to look at one of those parables to help us understand what it really means to help others win. But first, let me set the scene for you. So this guy came up to Jesus with a complaint against his brother. And see, their father had died, and one of the brothers wanted to share their wealth that they inherited, while the other one wanted to keep it for himself. And the brother who was looking to receive his portion of the money asked Jesus to get involved and to tell his brother he should go share the wealth. And this is how Jesus replied. Then he said, "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." And so right away, Jesus was saying, hey, be careful in thinking that life is all about what you have or what you can get. In other words, be careful thinking that life is only about you. Now, while we don't know for sure, I have to assume that this brother was thinking, what about me though? Will there be anything left for me? And honestly, I get it. I think it's human nature to think that way. And so now Jesus, knowing this, goes into another parable to expand his answer and help us really get to the point of the story. Now, in this one, there was a rich man who made some money by running a really successful farm. He grew so much stuff on the farm that he literally ran out of room to hold it all. Instead of finding a way to be generous with the extra crops that he had, this rich guy decided to build even bigger barns to store all the crops for himself. And then he thought he'd be satisfied. But God had a different idea of what this man should do. Take a look at the way the parable ends. Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. It's pretty harsh, huh? I mean, nobody wants to be called a fool, but sometimes this is how we think. Like the rich man in this parable, we think that a full life is found in getting everything that we want. But Jesus reminds us here that there's so much more to it than that. A full life, a good life, a rich life, that's not found in what we have. It's found when we are able to celebrate others. When we're able to let go of a scarcity mentality and embrace an abundance mentality, it changes how we see others. See, rather than acting foolish by holding on to everything that we have out of fear, God wants us to be party starters who choose to give what we can so that others can win. Think of it this way. A party starter knows that part of winning is helping others win. You can imagine a party starter as someone who is always cheering for the wins of others. They're the kind of people who, if it isn't totally weird, walk in a room with some noisemakers and bullhorns and doing whatever they can, ready to make some noise, generously encouraging the people around them to win. See, part of looking for ways to help others is realizing that no matter what you have, it's always better to give than it is to receive. Being generous takes sacrifice, but we can be confident that it leads to more of the life that Jesus has promised us. So we live not thinking about what we'll lose, but we live thinking of ways that we can help others and wind up experiencing a more full life. You remember the last World Cup, right? Whether you loved it or you hated it, what you can't deny is that soccer or football is the most popular sport in the world. Every 4 years, teams representing countries all over the globe come together to compete for the World Cup. And this is a really big deal in a lot of different countries. So even though someone in Buenos Aires may never actually step foot in the stadium or make a single pass in a game, they're cheering as though a win for their team is a win for them personally. In fact, when it comes to soccer, sometimes it can even be hard to tell the difference between what a win means to the player versus what it means to the fans. Winning just means so much to everyone. Let me show you what I mean. I can almost guarantee that all of those people celebrating the win of their team felt like they won too. People get really hyped for soccer. But the point is that when someone else wins, we can see it as a win for everyone because we aren't competing against each other, we're on the same team. One of the first Christian leaders, this guy named Paul, he wrote something about this same idea in a letter to his friend Timothy. Look at how he explains the way the followers of Jesus should practice generosity. It says, tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future so that they may experience true life. This is what it looks like to be a party starter, to use what we have to be generous and doing good for others, to share with the people in our lives who need it, to help someone else win without the fear that we will lose. Because as God promises, when we're generous with what we have to give, that's where a true full life is found. Every act of generosity reminds us of how generous God is. And that is one way that we see God at work. So remember, you have what it takes to be a party starter. You have time, you have encouragement, you have talents, and you may even have money to be generous with right now. You have what it takes to help someone else win. And a party starter knows that part of winning is helping others win. So, how can we begin to put generosity into practice this week? Well, start by paying attention. Look for ways that you can help someone else win. And what do you have to give? And who is around you that could benefit from your generosity? What would it look like to change your perspective on what winning really is? And then do just one thing to help someone else win. Don't let your generosity end with just a thought. Instead, put that thought into action by using what you have to help someone else win. Just to get you thinking, here's some ideas. Spend some time with a younger sibling, real time, where you genuinely pay attention to them and take an interest in them. You have no idea the kind of impact that would make. Or you could be generous with your compliments. Don't keep your kind words to yourself, either in person or on social media. Share them. Or donate some money to a cause that helps people. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just the act of giving money will be great for your heart. Or you can let someone else have the spotlight sometimes. Resist that urge to one-up them or to be as funny as them in a moment. You can let them shine. And you can keep talking about ideas like this in your small group. And finally, cheer for someone else. And I mean really, really cheer for them. Be the biggest supporter that you can possibly be to help them win in ways that matter to them. That's one of the best ways to be a generous party starter in someone else's life. Because you know that their win, it isn't your loss. In fact, it's your win too. So remember, a party starter knows that part of winning is helping others win. And one of the best places to start is in your small group. Your group is your team. You're there to support each other, to cheer each other on, and to win together. So now as a small group, take some time to talk through what it means to help each other win. In fact, when you head to group, think about this question to help get you in the right mindset for the conversation. What's one thing you have to give to someone else?